Dr. Kate Lawrence is a relationship expert with a popular blog and a fiancé, Brian Pankhurst, who checks all the boxes of a perfect partner. But when he leaves her on their engagement day, she struggles with her real feelings about her fake backup fiancé and childhood friend, Lucas Wright. Kate prepares for the latest video on her blog with fresh dating advice for her followers. It's about red flags on a first date at a coffee house. She thinks if a guy doesn't pay on the first date, gets upset about his name being spelt incorrectly, and orders a complicated drink, he's definitely a red flag, since he doesn't have manners and is high maintenance. While walking around the farmer's market in the small town, her fiancé Brian, who is a successful businessman dealing with medical equipment sales, notes how she's a local celebrity there. He wonders if she's going to adjust with the move to Seattle after they're married. Kate jokes about staying in the town, but Brian takes it seriously and gets anxious. She reminds him that she thinks Seattle will be great for her career. On that note, he remembers her latest video and feels relieved he never asked her for coffee on their first date. Kate doesn't think he needs to worry, since he doesn't have any red flags. By walking a little further, they bump into Kate's high school friend Lucas Wright, who informs her that her desk order is almost ready. He asks her to be patient, since he's making something unique for her. After introducing himself to Brian, he is surprised to learn they're engaged, since he has never seen him with Kate. When they leave, Brian confirms if Lucas was an ex-boyfriend, but Kate is sure Lucas isn't her type. She is in love with Brian and feels he's the perfect husband material. She floats the idea of announcing their engagement to everyone, since she's excited about them being together. Brian has his reservations, since he doesn't like anything elaborate, and also doesn't want anyone to think they're rushing into this. Kate's agent Pam disagrees with Brian, and knows they need to think much bigger in terms of the arrangements, since her website is blowing up and a book deal is in store for her. For Kate's career, an engagement announcement will be proof that her advice works. Kate knows Brian isn't comfortable with a flashy event, but agrees to talk to him if this leads to her becoming a best-selling author. Kate is recording another video with Anna when Lucas comes in to deliver the desk she ordered. He notices the setup and is curious about what they're doing. He isn't online too much and is till this point unaware of Kate's blog. But he wants some dating advice, which Kate is happy to provide in the moment. She suggests that if someone invites their friends for a date, they shouldn't fiddle with antique objects and try to hide it. Lucas understands the reference to their past and tries to explain that he was a teenager. But things are awkward now, and he decides to leave. Brian isn't too happy with the huge party Pam has planned for their engagement and wants something more intimate. For Kate, this is more of an opportunity for career advancement, so people take her seriously. But understanding that Brian is uncomfortable, she agrees to do something smaller. At the party, Pam is determined to make a big reveal with Brian at the end of Kate's regular video, where she announces the man in her life. She thinks it could be very big for Kate, so Brian decides to play along. All the locals have gathered at the party, and Kate comes to check on the progress with Pam and Anna. Brian is feeling weird about there being so many people, but Pam tells them about her big plan and assures him that it will be over before they know it. She also has a new photographer, Henry, who will cover everything related to the wedding to help make Kate's blog even bigger. Kate confidently walks to the set to make her big announcement and reveals to her viewers that she's engaged. As the crowd cheers, Kate is eager to introduce her viewers to her fiancé. There's some issues with the feed, and Henry asks her to stop for a bit. Brian takes that opportunity to take Kate aside to talk to her. She knows Brian doesn't like all this and is willing to put a stop to it. At this point, Lucas's dog Bo decides to run towards the tent where Brian and Kate are arguing. He overhears Brian telling Kate he can't marry her because their relationship isn't the same anymore. She still thinks they're perfect for each other, but he knows things have changed between them. When Brian texts someone in the middle of their conversation, Kate asks if he's seeing someone. He doesn't deny it and apologizes for how things happened. She feels insulted enough and asks him to leave. She finds a spot where she can be alone, but Lucas soon catches up to her. He apologizes for overhearing, but she just feels very stupid she fell for someone like Brian. She doesn't understand why Lucas is pretending to care and thinks her career and life are over. When Pam wants her back on set, Kate knows she needs to come clean to her viewers about this development. She nervously waits for the camera to roll, but isn't sure of what to say. Lucas watches her hesitate and knows he needs to help, so he comes over and announces that he's her fiancé. Kate is as surprised as her crew, but she keeps her smile intact and asks to speak to him away from the camera. She's mad at him for doing this, even if he just wanted to help a friend in need. When Anna and Pam come over to understand what's happening, Kate fills them in about getting dumped by Brian. They're shocked, but Pam reminds her that if there's no wedding, the publisher who's about to sign her will back off, and it will be the end of her book deal. Pam wants Lucas to stay on as her pretend fiancé for a bit longer, till the book deal is final. While Lucas is willing to help and thinks people will be convinced because they're childhood friends, Kate doesn't think it can work, since she feels Lucas doesn't know any of the small details about her. But Kate has worked very hard for what she has, and if she tells the truth, everything will be lost. It sounds crazy to her, but for the sake of her career, she decides to put on a brave face and starts pretending they're a couple. As they dance, a song that Brian chose is playing, and it makes her uncomfortable. Lucas makes them play another song she loves, and she feels comfortable with him in the moment. Kate thinks the day was very weird and discusses with Anna that her mother might be laughing at her for wanting something perfect. She knows her parents' marriage was miserable and they passed away before they could fix it. It's also the reason she wants other girls to think they can have a chance at happiness. She even laughs at the irony of the situation for herself. Pam has booked rooms for Lucas and Kate, courtesy of the hotel, in exchange for Kate mentioning them in her blog. Pam wants them to stay the night to film the wedding planner meeting the next day. Kate reminds her that none of this is real, but Pam wants them to stay totally in character, so she has even booked a June wedding for them. She assures them they can break up after the deal, but till then, she asks them to enjoy the wedding planning. She thinks of Lucas as Mr. Right for Pam, trying to make a play on his surname, but neither of them seems amused by it. In her room, Kate watches the video of that day and feels helpless. She shuts her devices, and as Lucas walks by her room, he hears her crying. When Kate wakes up, Pam barges into her room in excitement, complimenting her for the good work, since the publisher has offered her a great deal on the book. Kate joins Lucas for breakfast, looking very chirpy, and he seems glad she's happy. She still feels he doesn't have to pretend to care about her just because they're pretending to be engaged. Henry comes out of nowhere with Phyllis, the board wedding coordinator at the hotel, who discusses the plan with them. They're tasting cakes, but Kate is opposed to every flavor Lucas likes. Phyllis also asks what they want to do with the strawberry and champagne Brian ordered for the wedding. Kate pretends Brian is a friend who ordered it for them, and asks Phyllis to take the strawberries since they're full. She decides to call Brian to make him cancel all these romantic things. A woman picks up the phone and hands it over to Brian, making Kate comment on how he doesn't waste any time. Brian feels bad and agrees to cooperate with her for whatever she needs. Lucas is concerned about her, but Pam swoops in again, asking them to do a romantic walk on the beach. She even asks them to hold hands to show they're in love. Lucas apologizes for having rough hands and swears he would have moisturized if he knew he was going to help her out as her pretend fiancé. Some of Kate's followers catch up to them and come over to take some selfies. Kate finds it weird, but Lucas knows this is the point of what they're doing. He suggests sitting at the edge of the water and makes a beautiful sand castle. Pam wants to keep shooting, but Henry needs to leave for the day, so they leave them alone. When a wave comes and washes away Lucas's castle, he doesn't seem to care, but Kate wishes she had taken a photo of it. Lucas knows everything is temporary, and it's more important to live in the moment. Kate loves the thought, but wonders if that's how he was when they were teenagers, and one of his friends broke her glass hummingbird. She explains that her reaction was so extreme because it was the last thing her mother gave to her before she passed away. Lucas feels terrible, since he didn't know, but she also feels she needs to learn to let things go. He wants to make it up to her, but she knows he's done more than enough by helping her out as a fake fiancé. She thinks he's very sweet for doing something like this for her. But she still wants to set up a date when they officially break up, so he can go back to his life. After shooting her next blog, Anna wonders what's brewing between Lucas and Kate, since she decided to spend time with him even after everyone left. Kate doesn't want it to be a big deal, but shares that he has invited her to dinner with his family. When Lucas picks her up, she's busy on her phone, but he warns her there's a strict no phone rule during dinner. He introduces her to his parents, Susan and Roy Wright, who are waiting for her. Susan isn't too happy they haven't seen her since she was a kid, and now she's suddenly her son's fake fiancé. Lucas asks his mother to not be so direct, but Roy is much nicer to her. On the way, they meet Lucas's sister Jamie, who is a huge fan of Kate's blog, and is very excited about her being engaged to Lucas. When his mom reminds Jamie they're just fake engaged, Lucas apologizes to Kate for her behavior. Kate doesn't mind, and compliments Roy on how beautiful the house is. As they prepare dinner, Susan hands Kate a bowl to take upstairs to the balcony. Lucas guesses that she's afraid of heights, even if she denies it. He wants her to trust him about how sturdy the balcony is, since he builds things for a living. When her phone buzzes before dinner, Susan clears her throat and everyone gets nervous. Kate knows about the rule and insists she's only switching off her phone. Susan directly taunts her about sweet-talking her son into doing this favor for her. Jamie thankfully cuts in and comments on how she loves Kate's hair, who generously offers to teach Jamie how to do it. Susan is more interested to know when this charade will end, and Kate assures her it'll be over long before the real wedding date. When Kate's phone buzzes again and she reaches for it, Susan snatches it from her hand and pretends to throw it. Roy assures her that Susan never actually throws it, and when it rings again, she hands it back and Kate seems a lot more apologetic. By the time they start the meal, things seem much better between them. After dinner, Kate wonders what was wrong with Lucas's hair in his old photo, and asks where he went to school. She's surprised to learn he went to Princeton to study business, after which he was in New York for some years as a broker. His fiancée Emily passed away, so he needed a change, and decided to come back and opened his shop. Kate feels very bad about this, and if she had known, she wouldn't have asked him to do something so painful for her. He assures her it's in the past, and now that he has decided to live in the moment because of Emily, helping her out seems right to him. They even play pool, and Kate gets excited since she's winning. Pam wants Kate to stay relevant, which involves wedding dress shopping, but she feels very weird, since she was supposed to come to this place when she was getting married to Byron. She still promises Jamie that she can raid her closet, no matter what happens. Kate is tired of pretending, but it's Pam's job to keep her interested, and she keeps assuring her that she can go back to her life once the deal goes through. While walking down the street, Kate comes over to Lucas's shop, where he's working on a secret project, and nervously asks him for coffee. He gives the exact order she has warned her followers about, and she realizes he has seen her blog, and they both laugh about it. Everyone at the coffee house has left, but they still have a lot to discuss. Realizing that it's time for the place to shut, they both head out, but she admits she hasn't laughed like this in a long time. When he makes a joke about Brian, she defends him, since she loved him. Lucas doesn't believe she actually liked him, and was probably just with him because she didn't have a reason not to be. She doesn't appreciate this kind of bluntness and decides to leave. When Kate reaches home, she learns about a major power and water outage in the area, and speaks to Anna about it. Anna knows Lucas has a spare room, but Kate decides to figure things out in her own house. As she sits in the dark, with a laptop that's of no use without electricity, she starts regretting her decision. After Anna's call, Lucas has come to check on her, and wonders why she didn't ask him for help. He apologizes for judging her relationship earlier, but points out how with no food, plumbing, or power for her devices, there's no way she can function. Kate reluctantly agrees and decides to go with him. When she enters his house, everything is a mess, but he promises the guest room is much cleaner. When she wakes up the next day, she also finds the fridge empty. When Lucas comes home, she tells him about a recent blog she did about a man's heart being empty if his fridge is empty too. Lucas pretends to be offended, but brings out some groceries to prove how full his heart is. At the hotel, Phyllis asks them to try out some items and decide if they both like something. At the end of it, there's not a single item they both like. Kate helps out Jamie with her curls, and they seem perfect to her. Lucas feels Jamie is too dressed up just to go to the mall with friends, but decides to back off when he gets a look from the ladies. At his place, the last scone is left and they decide to split it, with Kate measuring it very accurately. Seemingly unafraid of her reaction, he points out how bad this habit is, and also mentions that she snores. No one has ever pointed out her flaws like this, and she does not take it well. When she's enjoying TV at night, he brings his popcorn and asks to watch his own cop show. Since it's her house, she decides to be accommodating and tries to read a book instead. But when he puts the show, she gets interested, and they keep watching it till the morning. She loves it so much that she's very disappointed to learn there isn't another season. Since it's 6 in the morning, Lucas suggests they can sleep, but she has already dozed off on the couch, and he leaves after putting a blanket on her. Kate has decided to cook for Lucas's family, but it's turning out to be a disaster and her meal is burning. She changes the plan and orders pizza for them instead. During another wedding planning session, Phyllis suggests roses, but Lucas wants ranunculus, since they're Kate's favorite flowers. He passionately describes their layers when they bloom, while she watches him eagerly. At their wedding registry, Pam asks them to scan what they like, while Lucas plays with the scanner like a toy. He spots a waffle iron he loves, but Kate is more of a pancake person. He isn't surprised, and declares their house is going to be a mess, but she has to remind him he's talking about his own house. They share a moment and keep looking at each other, but soon get distracted by the camera on their faces. While walking through the wedding dress shop, Kate notices Jamie trying on a dress and asks what she's doing. Jamie nervously admits that she was hoping they were getting married for real. This deeply disturbs her, and she calls up Pam to call off the whole thing, because she can't hurt more people. She meets Lucas at the cafe, but Pam informs them that the publisher wants to book her on talk shows, which even Lucas agrees is great for her career. He thinks she has worked too hard for this to give up now, and convinces her to continue the pretense for another week. Kate is annoyed by how slowly Lucas walks, but reminds herself that they're not a real couple, so it doesn't matter. She feels they disagree on everything, and so many differences never work for a couple, even if they love each other. He brings her to his parents' boat, but she hates sailing. He assures her they can just sit on it, but she tries to run away. He still convinces her to get on board, but she's sure she's about to get seasick. While he enjoys the journey, Kate is only relieved when she's out of the boat. That night, as she's sleeping on the couch, he looks at her and comes over to sit next to her. When she notices that he has been staring at her, he confesses that he was wondering if he should kiss her. She seems open to the idea, so he bends down to kiss her. But before he can do so, there's frantic knocking on his door. It turns out to be Brian, who wants to speak to Kate. Brian is there since she was ignoring his calls, and announces that he has broken up with Stephanie. Kate is furious he was dating someone from his office, but he sticks to the story about leaving Stephanie because he regrets dumping Kate. He feels he made a mistake, since they were perfect together and never fought, and her blogs about her fake engagement made him realize he wants her back. She admits she used to think they were perfect, but knows now that everything was wrong with their relationship. She knows they should never be together and asks him to leave. When Lucas tries to comfort her, Kate is in no mood and wants to take a step back because she feels the lies have gone too far. He thinks she's afraid to admit they can work together because it goes against everything she has ever believed about love. Kate doesn't want to engage and leaves after apologizing for involving him in the whole mess. Lucas is grateful for the happy face waffle his mother made him for breakfast. Jamie knows Kate is about to stream soon and wonders what it's about. Lucas just wants Kate to let him be there for her. He has an excitement in his eyes when he talks about Kate, which Susan notices hasn't been there for a long time. When Kate is about to start her stream, Jamie enters her house and stops her. But she is determined to tell her followers the truth and asks Jamie to join her. They are interrupted again by Pam, who feels Kate telling the truth is a very bad idea. She really doesn't care at this point and asks Pam to step down. But just when she starts the video and declares she hasn't been completely honest, she's asked to stop again. Brian's ex-girlfriend Stephanie has already posted a video, which is going viral, about Kate being a fraud. She shares that Kate has been deceiving everyone with her fake wedding, and knows that she got dumped by Brian on the day of their engagement. Lucas knows he needs to find her, and manages to locate her sitting on a bench. Kate feels she has ruined her life, and wants to go back to the way things were. He tries to tell her they have something special, but Kate doesn't believe it, and she thinks even Lucas is deluded about this, and this whole pretense has made him believe he has real feelings for her. She thinks they both need to realize it was all a fantasy, and that it wouldn't ever work between them in real life. Lucas declares his love for her, but she just wants him to go. Since she's being stubborn, he decides to leave her alone. She also throws in a taunt about him only helping her because he feels bad about what he did to her in high school. Kate hasn't left her couch in weeks, while Anna helps her out and tries to get her to go outside. Pam enters when Anna is leaving, and knows Kate can't avoid her forever. Since Kate has lost all her advertisers, and the publisher has canceled the contract, Kate doesn't feel the need for an agent anymore, and fires Pam. More time has passed, and Kate tries to cut a scone accurately, but ends up pulling it apart like Lucas did. When she answers the door, she finds Susan, who has come to check on her, since it's the day their wedding was supposed to happen. Kate thinks Susan didn't like her, but Susan claims she can't dislike a woman her son is in love with. Since Kate believes Lucas doesn't love her because they had a fight, Susan makes sure to point out how wrong she is. Kate has always believed that no two people should be together if they have conflicts, and she has based her life's work on it. Susan explains how love is about a leap of faith, and there's no actual guarantee. She knows it's scary, but thinks that if there's love between two people, it doesn't matter. At this point, Kate seems happy because she hasn't had this kind of a mother-daughter talk in a long time. She wants to fix it, but thinks it's too late for them. And she doesn't herself know how she feels. Susan is sure she loves him too, but Kate can't forget the look of disappointment on Lucas's face the last time she saw him. Anna has been trying to contact Kate since the morning, and shows her a video. It's from Lucas, who is addressing all women who are attacking Kate. He wants them to know it was his idea all along, and finally shares with Kate why he brought friends along to their movie date. He didn't bring them because he didn't want to be alone with her, but because he was so nervous about his huge crush on her, and just wanted to have some support. He didn't know the importance of the glass hummingbird, and was disappointed he wouldn't get another chance with her. He's happy he finally did get a chance 20 years later, and knows it was an easy decision to be her fake fiancé, because he loves her. Kate loves this gesture from him, and learns that he posted it 4 hours ago, so he must be thinking she hasn't answered and doesn't love him. She decides to get her jacket and prepares to meet him. In his house, Lucas feels Kate doesn't love him, since he can't believe she hasn't checked her phone or the video since the morning. Jamie still asks him to be patient and wait for a while, but he decides to go for a walk with Beau. Kate can't find Lucas anywhere, but in his house, she notices the sculpture of a hummingbird. Jamie knows Lucas has been up late at night working on it. Kate finally realizes he loves her, and feels like she knows where he might be. When she reaches the spot, she notices the flowers she loves, which Lucas ordered specially from California on the day they went to the flower shop, in case they got married. He now feels stupid about doing this. He apologizes for embarrassing her, but Kate confesses that she loves him too. They discuss their fake wedding day, but Lucas wants to make it real, and asks her to marry him that day. They get married in an intimate ceremony, and get the happy ending they always wanted.